She told me she stayed in touch with her ex because he was practically family. I told her it bothered me, but she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Maybe you're just not secure enough to date me." So, for her birthday dinner, the one I'd been planning for weeks, I invited her ex. They sat across from each other as I quietly read aloud their entire message history. 92 missed calls. She left before dessert. I never thought of myself as the jealous or controlling type. Those aren't words anyone would use to describe me. I believe in trust and giving people space, knowing they need their own lives, connections, and friends. But there's a difference between trust and denial, between being secure and being naive. It took me far longer than it should have to understand that. I met Vanessa at a wedding last spring. She was the maid of honor and I was there as a college friend of the groom. We instantly clicked. The hours we spent talking felt like minutes. By the end of the night, we were already planning dinner for the following weekend. Things moved fast, and within months, we were basically living together, splitting our time between each other's places. I was falling for her, and it seemed like she was falling for me too. But then Jason's name came up. We were having dinner when she got a call, saw the name on the screen, and stepped outside. When she came back, I casually asked who it was. "Just Jason," she brushed it off. "An old friend." A week later, I noticed him in several vacation pictures on her phone. I asked who it was and she responded quickly, "Oh, that's Jason." She hesitated before adding, "Yeah, we dated for a couple of years, but we're just friends now. We've been for ages." I nodded, trying to stay calm. I mean, lots of people stay friends with their exes. It's healthy, right? Mature even. But as time went on, his name kept coming up. She'd mentioned conversations with him, jokes he'd told her, advice he'd given. I couldn't help but notice it more and more. One night I casually said, "You and Jason talk a lot." She straightened up and asked, "Is that a problem?" "Not necessarily," I replied. "I'm just wondering why you're so close to an ex." She set her wine glass down. "Jason isn't just an ex. He's family," she said, and I was taken aback. "His sister married my cousin. We're all close. Holidays, get-togethers, he's just part of the group." It kind of made sense, but something about her explanation felt rehearsed. Still, I didn't push it. I didn't want to come off as the suspicious boyfriend. But over time, Jason's presence in her life became undeniable. She'd take his calls during our dates. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and noticed she was gone. She was in the living room laughing softly during a call with him. "He's going through something," she said. Finally, I told her how uncomfortable it made me. She snapped back, "Maybe you're just not secure enough to date me." That stung. I didn't think it was about insecurity, it was about boundaries. "Would you be okay if I was constantly texting and calling an ex, even if she was family?" "Yes," she replied, "I would." I argued, "But he's not your family. He's your ex who happens to be connected to your family." She looked at me like I had let her down. "I thought you were different. Every guy ends up getting weird about Jason. I really expected more from you." And just like that, I was the one apologizing. 2 weeks later, she left her laptop open while she showered. We'd been working side by side all morning. Her laptop pinged with a new message. It was from Jason. "Last night was incredible. Still thinking about how you felt. Can't wait for next time." My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, frozen. Then I broke every rule I'd ever set for myself. I opened their message thread. It was all there. Months of explicit texts. Secret meetups behind my back. Private jokes about me. Jason had written, "He actually believes the family excuse." Vanessa had replied, "He's sweet but so naive. Doesn't ask questions, which works for me." I kept reading. This wasn't a one-time slip. It had been going on the whole time. I wasn't her partner. I was the decoy, the fallback, the mask. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to myself. I quietly closed my laptop and got up when Vanessa came out of the shower. I kissed her on the cheek and mentioned that I had to go into the office. Instead, I went to a cafe and started making plans. Her birthday was coming up that weekend, and I had already arranged a special dinner downtown, something intimate and romantic. But I made 2 changes. First, I increased the reservation from 2 to 3. Then I sent an email to Jason. I pretended it was a surprise, mentioning how much Vanessa always talked about their bond and how important he was to her. I asked him to join us and he quickly responded, saying he'd love to. On the night of the dinner, I picked Vanessa up with flowers and a silver bracelet I'd bought weeks before when I still believed in us. "You look beautiful," I told her, and she smiled. "Thank you, and thank you for planning this. Tonight's going to be special." At the restaurant, I had requested a booth near the entrance so that I faced the door while Vanessa sat with her back to it. The third place setting was across from her. Champagne to start? I asked, placing the order before she could say anything. We chatted for a while and she seemed relaxed and happy, completely unaware. When the champagne arrived, I raised my glass. To honesty, I said. She paused just a moment too long before raising hers and echoing, to honesty. Then the door opened and I saw Jason enter. His eyes scanned the room, and when they landed on us, his whole demeanor shifted. What had started as a friendly smile turned into visible panic. He hesitated, clearly unsure whether to approach us or leave. I kept my smile steady and waved him over again. Vanessa turned to see what I was looking at, and when she saw Jason, her face turned white. What is he doing here?" she stammered, spinning back to me. "I invited him," I said cheerfully. "He's family, right? I thought he should be here for your birthday." Jason reached our table, his discomfort palpable. "Hey, surprise," he said weakly. "Jason, please sit down," I gestured to the empty chair across from Vanessa. "I've been meaning to get to know you better." Jason hesitated, but he had no choice but to sit. The tension around the table was suffocating, thicker than anything I'd ever felt. Vanessa tried to regain composure, her voice tight but controlled. "This is unexpected. Thank you for including Jason." I raised my glass, still smiling. "Of course, I know how close you two are." The silence that followed was heavy. Jason fidgeted with his napkin while Vanessa shot him glances that were part warning and part desperation. I kept up the friendly front. "So, Jason," I said casually, "Vanessa tells me you two go way back. Something about your sister marrying her cousin?" Jason swallowed hard. Yeah, something like that." "Which cousin?" I pressed. Vanessa quickly jumped in. "It's complicated. Extended family. You wouldn't know them." "Try me," I said, still smiling. Another awkward pause. Thankfully, the waiter arrived to take our order, giving us a brief moment of normalcy. Once he left, I reached into my bag, pulled out my tablet and set it gently on the table. Both Vanessa and Jason stared at it like it might explode. "You know," I began, unlocking the screen, "I thought it might be fun to share some light reading while we wait for the appetizers." Vanessa's eyes widened with dread. "What are you doing?" she asked, alarmed. "Just sharing a few interesting messages I found," I said, clearing my throat. I began reading aloud, calmly and clearly. "Last night was incredible. Still thinking about how you felt. Can't wait for next time." I glanced up at Jason. "Very poetic," I said. Their faces drained of what little color was left. Jason stood halfway up from his chair, but I kept going. "You really thought I would buy the whole family connection excuse?" I said. "Not exactly subtle." I turned to Vanessa. "That line was yours, by the way. About me, in case there's any confusion." "Stop this," she hissed, looking around the restaurant. "This is inappropriate." I laughed quietly under my breath. "Let's talk about inappropriate." I continued reading, revealing more messages, detailed exchanges about locations, times, and all the things they thought were clever to hide. The jokes about me mocking my emotions, their disdain for my supposed neediness. Jason sat in stunned silence, while Vanessa shifted from shock to fury. "You went through my private messages," she said, as if that was the real issue. "Yes," I said, remaining calm. "I saw a message pop up on your laptop, and it didn't take long to confirm what was happening." Jason finally spoke up. "Look, man, this is between you and Vanessa. I should go." "No," I interrupted. "This involves you. You were part of the lie. You helped her deceive me, made me feel like I was losing my mind. You don't just get to walk away." I looked back down at the screen. "Shall I continue, or should we skip to the part where you met up while I was at my grandmother's funeral? That one's especially charming." Vanessa shot up from her seat, eyes full of angry tears. "I'm not staying here for this." "Before you go," I said, reaching into my coat pocket and placing a small box on the table. "Happy birthday." She stared at me. "It's the key to my apartment. I've packed your things by the door. Don't worry about returning the key. I'm changing the locks tomorrow." She grabbed the box and stormed out. Jason lingered a moment too long. "You should probably go too," I told him. "Unless you want to hear more greatest hits." He mumbled something that might have been an apology and followed her out. I stayed behind, ordered another bottle of champagne, and for the first time in weeks, truly relaxed. The waiter, who had clearly sensed the emotional temperature of the moment, approached with a mix of sympathy and admiration. "Still want the dessert with the candle?" he asked. "Absolutely," I said. No reason to waste good tiramisu. By the time I got home, Vanessa had called me 47 times. By morning the number had nearly doubled. I didn't answer. Her voicemails ranged from sobbing apologies to furious accusations. Her texts were more of the same. She even sent friends to try and plead her case, insisting that I had gone too far. I blocked them all, changed my number, and a week later moved into a new apartment. It's been 6 months now. From what I've heard, Vanessa and Jason tried to make it work, but it didn't last. Shocking, I know. Turns out, when two people build something on lies, trust is hard to maintain. As for me, I'm doing better. It wasn't easy, but I'm healing. I've learned to trust my instincts. That voice we sometimes dismiss as insecurity? It's often just our gut picking up on things our heart refuses to admit. I'm not someone who gets jealous easily, but I'm not someone you make a fool of twice. They say living well is the best revenge. I disagree. The best revenge is watching someone's face as you read back every word of their betrayal right in the middle of their own birthday dinner, and then finishing the dessert they had to leave behind. It really was excellent tiramisu.